Good afternoon. So I have a full strategy I want to share with you guys. Here are some of the trades that I took back in July. We have a USD CAD trade that won. We have a Euro USD trade that won as well. And then a Euro CHF trade that won as well. I shared these back in my Telegram channel that I just keep track of what I'm doing in the market, what I'm looking for, and what I plan on doing. Euro CHF was one of them that fell away from this area. I was looking for a break and retest of this area. Euro USD was also another as well that I had called out, expecting price to go up from this area, expecting, yeah, USD to, there we go. I have a buy stop placed on the 4-hour candle bounce, waiting for a support area to form, and it did. And so everything worked out well there. And then, I track everything, whether I win or lose, I put them all in there. So I just want to give you the full strategy now. It's really helped me with my peace, my patience, and my planning. So here's how you can plan out your trades for yourself on your own chart. So that way you don't actually need anybody in order to learn. There are many different people out there willing to teach you, and there's a lot that you can get from them, but you don't necessarily have to buy anything from anybody in order to actually be profitable. So it's really simple. When price moves, you generally get pulls up and down as price does what it's doing. And my whole process is to look for these areas where price has created a resistance that then turns to support. And then I'll also look in the past as price starts to come back down and breaks out of an uptrend, then you can use that same area as a possible counter trend where you're also expecting another bounce. And so I look for support and resistance as well as breaks and retest. These are just zones that I find valuable that will help me place a trade. So once price gets back into this zone, I wait for rejection in this zone, whether that is on that time frame or a lower time frame, and then I just enter the trade and then I just track the trades. So for you, that's pretty much it. Go into the charts. The chart is going to be the best teacher. You can learn all you want from any of these people out there, from myself included, for anything that has worked for me or worked for anybody else, but you're never going to be able to apply it unless you actually get into the charts and do it for yourself. And so I recommend doing just that. Take something as simple as this, go look at what you see as being zones as an uptrend, breaks and retest, or whether or not you're looking for just extreme levels that have been respected in the past that you're looking to see price react from, and just place a trade there. See what it looks like. Track this for about 100 trades. I say about 100 trades. This could take, depending if you're on the daily, this could take anywhere up to 3 to 6 months. If you're on the 1 minute, it could take a week. But track all these trades and then review them. Go over them and see what is working for you. How often do you get successful bounces out of these zones that you've drawn, and then move forward with that. Then start actively trading that in demo, or just personally, I don't do anything with demo. I feel like it's right there with those games that they give you a bunch of money, like poker or Texas Hold'em, and people go all in on just stupid stuff that you never would have done if it was actually your own money. And so same concept here. I want to put something that makes me consider the choices that I'm making. And so if you have, $100, $50 to put into an account, then I would encourage that. Not financial advice. This is all for my own personal journey as I've gone through. And so that's roughly how I've been doing it. I've not done much on demo, a lot of back testing maybe, but nothing actual forward testing on demo, just because I feel like I will not take it serious if there isn't something in it outside of my time. That can be beneficial. If you value your time a whole lot higher than I value mine, then maybe you could see demo trading as being beneficial to you. But for me, it wasn't. So I backed away from it, threw about $50 into account and work from there. So there's that USD CAD trade. It was just a bounce off of a support. Here is the break and retest on Euro USD. And then Euro CHF was just a break and retest of resistance. And so those trades worked out really well. I think I track them all in my journal here. And so like there's my trades as everything panned out. And then as you can see, my winners tend to be a whole lot more than my losers, which is the way you want to be when you're trying to be profitable. And so that's pretty much it. Get out into the charts and start marking up your own stuff, and that way you can start learning. As for this, you can leave now. I'm just going to look over what I currently have as far as alerts, see what's gone on, and start marking up my charts for when I'm actually viewing. So I've had some alerts go off. This past couple of weeks have been kind of slow. Haven't really taken much of anything. Let's see what we got here. We're looking at the past couple of weeks from the 7th. So yeah, from the 7th, I've had 4 trades, in which case I'm down for the last 2 weeks, down about $43. The weeks prior to that, we're pretty good, but this pass has been down, especially these ones are a little bit higher because I've actually increased my risk a little bit more. So I'm okay with that because I know eventually if I keep at it, that eventually my winners will be more than my losers. And so in the previous ones, I was doing anywhere from $30 to $50, and now I've moved from $80 to $100. And so these are going to be a little bit higher because, of course, that was right when I changed over. And so, it is what it is. The idea is to stick with it for the long run. And so let's look at some of these alerts that I had go off. So CAD CHF, I was waiting for price to pull back down here and then come back into this area. It looks like we're ranging for a little bit. Probably won't see that. Probably won't even mess with it for next week. So I'll leave that one alone. Odd JPY. Odd JPY came back into this area here. I'm not feeling comfortable about it. So I would expect something like this instead, a break down here and a retest. The only other thing I have is maybe once price gets back up here, now that we've left this area, I was looking for a break and a possible retest there, but that never played out. But now we have had this area here that has shown some reaction, and I could expect another reaction as well. And so I'll leave that there. And that's pretty much that. Try to keep things clear, keep things simple, have a plan, and then have a backup plan. So like this one here that I was waiting on price to come into this level here, dropping down to a lower time frame. That's a wick rejection there, dropping down to a lower time frame, looking for an entry on that first wick. And we don't actually have a pullback into this area here, which would have been my entry area. The second wick, because if you look on the 4-hour, we have 2 bullish candles that come into the zone that close with the wick into the zone. So there's the first one, no entry. There's the second one, looking for an entry on that one. And it looks like we would have had one right about there after this. It's a 3-candle reversal. You have 2 bullish candles coming in, a wick rejection, and then a close with a lower close, lower low candle there. Stops a little bit above the area because if price is going to respect this area, it should not break that zone roughly. I mean, it's been a beautifully respected zone on this lower time frame, so it shouldn't break that area. Stops a little bit above that just in case it wicks and you have room for spread and all the other stuff. And then just go for a simple 1-to-1. And 1-to-1 would have worked out great. Probably would have had to close manually because it probably wouldn't have hit if you actually had to take profit. I watch my trades. I monitor my trades. I have not been doing the setting and forgetting, walking away since I've moved on to this new risk structure, and it's worked out really, really well for me. Haven't had a lot of trades this week. We already saw earlier. And one of the beautiful things about trading this way is it has made practicing patience very, very easy. So this trade would have worked out wonderfully. I did not take it, but that's roughly what would have been looking for and would have just executed. And you can tell based upon the trading journal. So what am I looking for now? Well, Euro CHF is broken that level now. That is no longer valid. It's no longer a clear level either. And so now what do we have? We just have this level here. So if price can come up in here and give a wick rejection, I'll look to possibly take a small bounce out of that. And then that's pretty much it. I got nothing else. I have this far low level here that I'll go ahead and put another alert in, and I'll get rid of this guy way up there. I've been trying to clean up my alerts. I end up with a bunch of alerts that are just all over the screen. I'm still working at that. I like my alerts, but I used to love the actual alerts on trend lines and horizontal rays. Those were beautiful because then when it was time to clean up, you can just come here and clean up everything and they'd be gone. Whereas if you clean up the drawings now, the alerts actually stay. And so I can end up getting really, really messy with these things. But learn the tools of your trade, find out what works for you and continue doing that and tweak it as you need to go. Euro CHF gone. What's the last two that I have? USD CAD. USD CAD. This is actually was waiting on a break and retest here. So that did not look like, well, it looked like it would have if I was actually looking at something else. I originally set this alert. One of my friends, my buddies, is doing the same exact thing. He's learning and trying to become profitable. And so one of the things that trying to get him to do is to get into the markets consistently, to come to the charts day in and day out and just make a habit of it, to build that habit, whether you're successful or not. And that's the hardest thing is we want to see immediate results. And we're not always going to get immediate results. Well, no, we're going to get immediate results. The question is, are there going to be the results that we like? And the answer is usually no, they're not. So coming into this, I'm just trying to get him to go, okay, come in, take a trade, analyze it or annotate it in your trading journal, and then we'll come back and we'll look and to see what works, what doesn't. We will find out what we can do more of in order to make the working stuff work and try to do less of the stuff that doesn't. And it just makes it simple. So this is what I was tracking for that one. I was looking for, I think it was a double bottom, which never actually played out. But either way, his trade eventually would have failed anyway. So what am I looking for here? I don't know, actually, because I was not looking at USD CAD this past or today. So what do I have? Well, I really have nothing clean. The last high I have that would make sense would be that one there. So if price can come back into this level here and give me rejection, that works great. I don't see anything. Oh, on the 4 hour, I do have something higher. So this is a nice level here. If price can come back into here, we can look for something there. So that's pretty much that. And we haven't had any good structure on the way up and now. But this idea of breaks and retests, if you have not learned about that, go over to Baby Pips or someplace like that. You just learn the very basics. You do not need to overcomplicate it. It is not that hard. The hard part is removing yourself from needing to complicate it. That's the hardest part, the roughest part. But you have an area where price has come up, bounced away a few different times before finally breaking through. Well, if you just strip all that out and look directly at what has actually happened, you will see you used to be able to make this disappear. Hide. Oh, there it is. You will see that when you look at it, it's just a roof that all of a sudden is broken through, and you expect, based upon how price tends to trade and tends to move, you expect it come back and use it as support before bouncing up. And what happens? Well, that's exactly what happens. Price eventually comes back down here, gives you a couple wick rejections, and then moves up higher. Now, whether or not you wanted to catch this whole move or catch a lower, smaller move on a lower time frame, it really all depends. You just need to be able to come back to the markets day in and day out and know that when you see something that sets up like this, generally this is what happens. And then you just execute trades, whether you use engulfing candles for your entries, whether you use just straight wick rejections, which is a little bit more aggressive, I would recommend it. Whether you, like me, I come down to these lower time frames. So let's zoom into that one. And I'll show you exactly how I set things up. So this is the wick. I'm expecting price to come to about 50% and maybe the extreme of that wick area. Come back in here, go into the 5 minute, 15 minute. I'm still playing with that. I've been using the 5 minute a lot. And so, but I've thought about jumping out to the 15 minutes because sometimes I can get caught up in things. So ignoring this stuff to the right, because this would be how the market looked right now. This sort of makes sense because I have double wick rejections right there. That's about it though. There's nothing else to the left. And then this really, really low spot. That is like the far extreme. But when it comes down to it, prices actually reacted in and around that area there. So just drag that out to the future. Cool. What do we got? We have an area where on the next candle, price comes down into this area, starts creating that wick. And whether you, once again, however you decide to get in, this is where you need to get into the markets to see what that looks like for you, whatever you feel comfortable with. And when you don't feel comfortable, you get out. So, whether you have this rejection, double rejection, multiple rejection, whatever, in this huge candle here. All right, cool. I don't expect, if price was supposed to continue up, price should not break this area here because that's the low of the previous candle. You're breaking that, chances are, it's probably going to flip around on you. Go for a 1-to-1, go for 1-to-2, see what works for you, track how far these usually go when you actually get into them, and then adjust based upon that. If you keep going for a 1-to-2, but you find out that a 1 to 1.5 is usually where they flip around on you, well, guess what? Go for 1.1 to 1.4, and you're guaranteed to be profitable. Why? Because you're going to be making more than when you lose. See how easy that is? If that's how you wanted to play it, you can play it like that. If you wanted to wait for the break of a high, as far as a smaller reversal on this lower time frame, then you go that route. Still 1-to-1, 1-to-2, whatever you want to do. Like it's really up to you. You've got to play it and figure it out. So that's how that works out. It's really, really simple. It doesn't have to be complicated. Don't make it complicated. Find a set of rules that work for you and run with it. So that's all I'm waiting for there. And then we can get rid of this guy. All the rest of these things are already set up and I haven't seen anything recently. Price is into my area now, but I have not seen a wick rejection. So I was waiting for a breakdown either here or there, but there's really no wick rejection. So now that price has left this area, I'm going to put another alert in here. What I need to see is actually price to come back a little bit lower. It's Friday. Chances are I probably won't see anything. And even if I did see something, I wouldn't touch it. Why? Because 5 o'clock, the spreads are going to widen and then the market closes. Actually, no. 4:30ish, the spreads are going to widen and the market closes, and then it doesn't open up till Sunday. And the market is going to be crazy on Sunday because over the weekend stuff, you never know what happens. And well, I'm not going to track that. So if we come back in here on Sunday, Monday, and it's still in this area, or even comes down a little bit lower, then I'll start looking at things. So that's pretty much all I got there. All the rest of these are roughly the same way. I set them up the same way. This is my second time recording this exactly, or this process to begin with. I had this other one that I had here, only to realize that I was muted the entire time. So that happens, but it's roughly the same thing. It's the same thing that we have here. It's just showing you the exact same stuff. Why? Because it's the same thing. Once you find consistency, you just do it over and over and over again, to the point it can sort of get boring. And boring can be okay because you can find peace in that. Like I said, if you can find that, find ways to just make that better for you. So yeah, get out there into the markets. If you're following along with me, continue following along. Let me know what I can do to help. Comment, subscribe, come join me on Discord. I have a small server there where we talk and talk about trading stuff and things of that nature. And then I have a Telegram channel where I just post all of my trades that I'm in or what I'm actually looking for. And then I actually have a trading journal where I track all the trades that I've actually taken. And so I'm working my way to, I can consider myself profitable now. It's been really, really nice. But I'm working my way to grow my account. I want to grow the account so I can actually trade with a larger amount of capital and then just start really pulling in a lot of money to pay for bills, because bills, life is expensive. So growing an account is really my ultimate goal right now. And then just trying to be as helpful as I can to anybody else out there who is on this journey as well. It's not necessarily easy. And there's a lot of people out there who glorify and glamorize all of their winning trades without actually showing you their losing trades. And I want to break that. I want to be transparent to everybody who's out there to show you, yes, you can be successful, but there is a journey that you have to take in order to do that. So if you're starting this journey, pull up your pants, tighten your shoes, because it's going to be a long trek. So look forward to seeing you guys at another time. Until then, be blessed.